What's going on out there, Junkie Nation? It's Kinshiro. We're back with Culture Junkies Live. We hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. A lot of really cool things that came out. We have Black Friday. We have the first part of the Crisis on Infinite Earth, or Crisis on Earth X, excuse me. That's an old comic reader's habit. I can't shake that. I'll try and work on that. But today's show, we're going to talk about the kind of the growing loot box controversy that's been sweeping the gaming industry. Is it gambling or is it not gambling, and should something be done about it? But let me introduce who's going to be on the show today. We got Sabrina Perry. What's up, girl? How you?
What's up, everybody? Pretty good. Excited.
Good, great. How have you been? You had a good Thanksgiving?
I did.
All right, awesome. Fallen Marvel is here. What's up, man?
Greetings and salutations, everyone.
All right, and we got LGZ and the great Daidakuji. How you doing, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
Awesome, awesome.
Great Datakuji is back again. I'm glad you are joining us, all my friends.
All right. So, hey, we are going to talk, like I said, about the gambling controversy, but we'll put that aside and we'll get to some other stuff real fast. Fallen Marvel, you said you went shopping for Black Friday, so let us know. What'd you get?
A lot of a few unexpected things, but usually just the movies, games, and some comic book paraphernalia. So might as well.
Like, what was the best deal you found this past weekend?
Probably at the probably at Dish Replay. They actually had 30% off on all Blu-rays, which is like, they already have them discounted, so it's like that's even a bigger discount. So it's like they usually have like Blu-rays for like $6 or $4, and it's like extra 30% off that. So I wound up getting a few old gems. I wound up getting let's see, Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck, dude. That's
RoboCop.
classic.
Great choice.
Got the original RoboCop director's cut, of course. Jingle All the Way. And Space Jam.
He said, "Put that cookie down."
Hey,
Yes.
You know what? That brings up actually a really good quick topic that we can jump into real fast. Like, for real, when Thanksgiving hits, that's all about like families, food, football, sometimes and stuff like that, right? Yeah. But it's also about movies, man. Like, so what's some of the best go-to Thanksgiving or holiday movies like we could watch over the Thanksgiving break? Like, what'd you guys watch growing up that you like always had to watch? Like, I know for me, you know, started off like, I'm sorry, go ahead. For me, I remember Thanksgiving was almost synonymous with Star Wars, because remember when Fox cut that deal and then, like, they would run like on concurrent nights, they'd always have the original Star Wars trilogy and stuff like that, you know. But like, what did you guys used to watch all the time for Thanksgiving?
I really remember watching Hook a lot.
Oh, yes.
For some reason, Hook was always on TV, and so I have like distinct memories of like watching Hook with my cousins. Like, it would be on TV and we would watch Hook, like on Thanksgiving.
That's actually a really good one.
I love Hook.
Yeah, Hook. So that's
Hook
for some reason
great.
I watched that a lot. And Mrs. Doubtfire.
It was like a Robin Williams day or something. Like.
Most
I
recently,
don't know if they're always on.
We have our friend Quiet Mike. He brought over a Home Alone, and I enjoy watching that movie, even though it is a Christmas movie. I wouldn't say I watch it every Christmas, but it's enjoyable to watch. And I did this year.
Man, okay. I didn't really have a designated like Thanksgiving movie. I mean, I probably like catch like the Thanksgiving Charlie Brown sometimes, but like I think that I'm kind of like one of those people that sort of like starts like the Christmas movie early, which I don't want to do, because like November's not about Christmas or whatever the case may be. But I think overall, like, more than likely, I'm probably going to stick with like Uncle Buck and probably Planes, Trains, and Automobiles like going forward.
I never really liked Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I mean, call me crazy. I don't know.
I need to watch it. I just watched the YouTube video about it last night, and it piqued my intrigue because it's a John Hughes movie, and I like a lot of John Hughes's stuff that he wrote, and it's friggin' rated R, dude. So it's like
pretty funny. I mean,
I honestly watched it for the first time probably like 3 years ago, and I actually enjoyed it. So I'm probably gonna add that to the lineup if I ever like catch it sometime. So
I watched a lot of episodes of TV shows about Thanksgiving to
yeah,
get to get in the Thanksgiving mood. So I watched like an episode of Full House, like the it's a Thanksgiving miracle. Do do do. The miracle
Right.
of Thanksgiving.
Hey, some in the chat, let's see, Big Preem is checking out the show. He says The Long Kiss Goodnight was like the best Xmas movie ever. Anthony Mentor says Die Hard was the best Christmas movie ever. So does Waffles. I mean, it's hard to argue with some of those choices. LGZ, what was some of yours? I haven't even heard you check in yet.
So I don't do a whole lot of movie watching over Thanksgiving ever. I've never been that person. I'm usually like the person that's always cooking, and so I'm like my time is consumed. So when I do have downtime, I'm asleep.
You gotta have that tablet.
Okay.
That little contraption that you hook underneath your cabinet.
No,
you
dude.
put your tablet there so you can cook and watch stuff at the same time.
No, I can't because it's be like too many people be trying to come in the kitchen and trying to taste my food.
You tell them get out of my kitchen. You say you get out of my kitchen right now.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could be that person, but I just can't. So yeah, no, I didn't do very much this year. My aunt is here, was here visiting, so I got to spend time with her. So I wasn't really watching TV so much this time, but I never usually do because usually we have people over, so I'm never really. If I'm not cooking, either I'm asleep or I'm talking to somebody. So not for me. In Christmas though, totally different story.
Okay. All right. Well, we can get to Christmas, I guess, in a little while. But obviously, we watched Justice League for Thanksgiving as well, and it's still kind of struggling in the theaters. It lost to Coco over the weekend in the box office. I mean, I guess it did pretty decent. I think it got more over the holiday weekend than it did on its launch weekend, which I guess in a way is good, but not good since it kind of still lost to Coco. What do you guys think?
I think that the stupid friggin' reviewers out there ruined an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you kind of look at it at a technical standpoint, yeah, okay, the movie was a mess. I don't give a shit. They got the characters right, and I felt that the story was still coherent. You can follow it. It had meaning. It had a beginning and end. You knew what was going on. And I felt finally that I can like some of the characters that I didn't like in previous movies. So I really think that the wannabe reviewers out there that only like French fucking films, those are the ones that ruined the opportunity for everything. Subtitle French films. Get out of here, man. It's a comic book movie. And it finally felt to me, DC
like a comic book movie.
Like a comic book movie. Like Wonder Woman felt like a comic book movie, but like Captain America, where it was still kind of realistic, but you got unrealistic stuff happening. But this one totally felt like a comic book movie that like Marvel's been doing. And they just shat all on it because of whatever, everybody I've heard. I just watched the dude this morning, you two talked about what's DC's doing wrong. And he didn't really care for the other, and he broke it down on what's going on with the characters, but he still liked Justice League. I haven't talked to anybody that didn't like it. I saw one person on my Facebook that didn't like it, but I think she looks at it in a way that those reviewers looking at it. She's not looking at it like, oh, it's a comic book movie. Let me take my brain out of this and just friggin' enjoy the action and the characters, what's going on. But no, they want to be so technical about it. Like, oh my gosh, looks like it was directed by two people. And that mustache, his face looks weird. Who cares? All right.
You really serious about that? That's hilarious.
It's just stupid to me. It's just like, watch the fucking movie. I mean, not every freaking comic book panel is drawn exactly the same. I don't care. He has a freaking mustache and it's CG'd out. Who cares? I don't care. I just enjoyed the characters finally. I enjoyed what was going on with it. Was Steppenwolf weak? Yeah, he was. But it was a 2-hour movie. You're not going to put depth in him like Loki that's been around for freaking 5 freaking movies. Get over yourself.
Right.
That's basically all I gotta say. I'm sorry if I took up everybody's time.
No, that's okay. Actually, you bring up a good point. Yeah, go for it. But I mean, you know, one of the things that made Justice League good to me, like you said, was the characters, but it was just really the spectacle of seeing it, you know, once again done the right way as far as the characters go. I watched it for the third time with my kids, and we liked it. You know, we weren't really going into it looking for all of the, you know, was the CG looking really bad, even though it you know, it did kind of look pretty bad in a lot of spots. We were just more hyped that the movie was done right, and it sets up a lot for the future. But you know, honestly, it couldn't escape the ghosts of its past, and you know, unfortunately, that is it is what it is now at this point.
I think it'll grow. Like, people will end up watching it who aren't giving it a chance, and they'll end up liking it. You know, it's like It's a Wonderful Life. People didn't like that movie when that movie came out, but that is a Christmas movie that people watch every year
religiously.
And like TV shows and everything like spins off of that movie, and like they have their own episode of like It's a Wonderful Life. But when that movie came out, it got like hated on by critics. Everyone, like, nobody liked that movie when that movie came out, but like now it's everybody watches that movie, or if they've not seen it, they know what it's about.
Right. Well, you know what? Speaking of comic book movies, right? The Crisis on CW has actually been really, really fun TV. I mean, have you guys been watching that at all? It started yesterday. It started off with Supergirl, and Arrow actually aired yesterday on the CW. And what makes it so awesome is that, unlike the previous crossovers, this year they've actually blended all 4 shows together, whereas they're all acting seamlessly, and it's not like split apart, you know what I mean, where like one show takes the baton and hands it to another show, and it seems like it's an episode of another show. No, it's all running together like it's one seamless 4-hour movie, and I think that's really helping it in regards to the quality of the show, because this thing has been really, really fun. It's been really, really fun. I know you guys probably haven't watched it all, but you know, and you guys out there in Junkie Nation, let us know what you think of the Crisis so far. But from the clips that you guys seen, what stood out to you about this crossover as opposed to some of the stuff that we've seen from the previous years?
Nazis.
Right. Yeah.
That's literally the first thing I think of, like with the promos and all that, is like it seems like that's the running trend. Like everybody's making a big deal about Nazis. But other than that, I was interested, like overall, like even when they first showed I guess it was like set photos of the evil Supergirl. Like I don't want to use the name they got for it because it sounds so stupid for me. Comic book accurate or not, that is a stupid name in my opinion. But other than that, I'm interested in checking it out. Like I probably just wait until they put it on the CW app tomorrow and check it out like all at once.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, Supreme is actually right over in the Facebook chat. He says that the guys that are writing this should be writing for the DCEU, and he's got a point because, well, I think as a difference between the DCEU and the CW shows, they've actually had all these years to actually build these characters and build the narrative between them. But the way all the actors play off of each other, the way the characters interact, you know, the funny little situations that they get into, just the comic book stuff that you see in here. Like you got the fights between, you know, characters that you wouldn't normally see. You've got the stakes, the different Earth, the Nazis, all this stuff. It's fantastic. It's great comic book stuff. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I totally agree, and I've been agreeing with that. Whomever is in charge of DC movies, they don't care really about the quality. So personally, I think that whomever wrote the Justice League, Batman, the animated series, or Superman cartoons back in the 90s and late 2000s, early 2000s should be writing the movies. And with collaboration of people who write stuff for live action that do the TV series should be doing the movies. That's something that I've said, you know, a long time ago. I totally agree with that. It still doesn't take away that I like Justice League, but those movies could be a hell of a lot better if they got people who actually knew their stuff, knew what they were writing, knew how the characters worked, and all that other stuff, instead of just throwing out there seeing what's gonna stick. So, but yeah, I intend on watching the crossover. I do enjoy watching Flash. I got to get back into Arrow and other shows because they kind of lost me a few seasons ago. But I still think that they have done a really good show, even though it was described to me as basically a kind of like a soap drama style writing with comic book characters that keep you coming back because of that style of writing. So I want to watch it though.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I guess that that stood out to me from seeing some of the shows, and I guess I can go into it because it's already been airing for one night, but some of the relationships that kind of jumped off, if you've been following the shows, you kind of get to see little pairings that you wouldn't necessarily always see or that you wouldn't see anywhere in any other show if you weren't to watch the crossover. Like, say, for instance, those of you that have been watching The Flash, I mean, not The Flash, watching Supergirl, know that that Alex, her sister, was going to get married to Maggie Sawyer. They just broke up. So what do? They go to this wedding. They go to a wedding. And I mean, that's what you do. You go to a wedding, you go to release, you go to have fun, right? Alex, of course, being a lesbian and stuff like that, you know, runs into the captain of the Wave Riders, one Miss Sarah Lance. And a bunch of scotch later, they end up hooking up, and it's like one night stand, and Alex is horrified, and I have to say, Sarah's just carrying it like a G. She's just like, hey, this ain't gonna be a thing, is it? She's like, because I'm cool either way. Like, this is a woman that's bedded. This is a woman that's bedded Queen Guinevere. She's bedded. I think she may have wedded Cleopatra. Bedded Cleopatra. I mean, she slept with a bunch of women all across time. She ain't worried about, you know, little Alex Danvers and stuff like that. She had fun, but you know, she's done. She cool with it. It's awesome.
Sarah has definitely been getting it in. Like,
yeah, man, it's awesome. Everything that about this thing is like, it has just been fantastic, and they brought back a villain that some people probably thought was dead and probably might have been gone and staying away, but no, here he is rearing his ugly head again. And I guess that's the other thing about this show that the movies don't get, and you guys can comment on this too, is that they actually do bring back the villains, like as in comic books used to do, instead of the movies where they like, one villain shows up, they're dead. Another villain shows up, they're dead. You know, none of the villains die. They get to come back and menace our heroes over time again. And this one has been the ultimate big bad across the entire Arrowverse, I guess you could say. And to see him come back in the way that he came back is great. It's great. Honestly, it's been great.
From what I've seen, just to piggyback off what Daido Kuji was saying, like was just saying just how like they've really are focusing on like the comic book feel with all the shows, and that's definitely been evident with Legends of Tomorrow this season. I have been literally very entertained by this season, especially I think it was the 4th episode, when I'm not sure anybody's watched it, but basically, like Keaton says, a certain one of the other villains comes back, and it's done in such a fashion that was so off guard. It caught me so off guard, but it was so good to the point where it was like, okay, like
yes,
which one? Like, you talking about this season?
This season,
yes.
Would you be talking about the Gorilla Grodd episode?
No.
Okay,
that was a good episode, though.
That was a damn good episode, man.
It was a good episode.
That was, but no. We
the Damien Dark one.
Yes.
Dude, Neil McDonough is playing the hell out of that role, dude. He loves that role.
He does.
He's good at it. That's why.
He's very good at it.
They got the right.
Is it different than him Bison though?
Yeah. We try and forget that, man. Don't bring that up.
God,
don't bring that up.
Wound, dude.
You're right. Jesus. Don't bring that up. Yeah, but Neil McDonough's playing his ass off of that, and Legends of Tomorrow. I know a lot of people say a lot of shit about Legends of Tomorrow and some of the CW shows because they're corny and stuff like that. But that's what makes them good. It's because they're fun. They don't forget to have fun. They don't forget that these are comic books and it's supposed to be a wild adventure. It's not supposed to be super serious and dark. And yeah, they have their moments of drama, but they have their moments of levity too. But Damien Dark, to me, out of all the Arrowverse, I have like 3 favorite villains. I have Malcolm Merlyn, because Malcolm Merlyn, played by John Barrowman, and he is absolutely fantastic. Damien Dark would be number 2. And Eobard Thawne would be number 3. I mean, honestly, out of all the villains, like, those guys have been the best. Period.
Yeah. I actually would agree with that list. I probably wouldn't, as good as Malcolm Merlyn was, like, he wouldn't be in my top 3. I'll probably put Prometheus in that spot just on how menacing he was.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't my favorite, but he put Oliver through the most out of all his villains.
Didn't he, though?
Had, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah. He definitely brought him through the ringer, and you basically.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean, I think he's gonna come back though. I'm like hoping that he comes back.
Right. All right. Well, you know what?
I hope not.
Right. Well, another show that's getting ready to come back on Friday is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've had to wait a while for it to come back. But season 5 is about to jump off on its new night on Friday. A lot of people, myself included, are very worried that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might be meeting its end because it's on Friday. But whatever you want to say about it being on Friday, last season was fire. I mean, that last season, from the beginning with Ghost Rider to the end with that absolutely stellar LMD arc, was just fantastic. It was probably one of the best comic book shows probably on TV last season that I'd ever seen. Now they're going into season 5. They're in space. Tell us what you guys are looking forward to with this season. LGZ, you lead the charge because you were championing this show for a while.
Because I love it. I love it. I'm like super excited. I'm waiting for them. I don't even know what's going to happen in space. Like, I don't even care. I'm just ready for it to be back on. Like, that show, I think as far as like comic book shows go, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been the most consistent over the seasons. And so, I mean, it's like my absolute favorite.
I agree.
So I don't even care what they do. I'm just ready. Let's go.
I totally agree. And, so I kind of forgot that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was coming up this Friday, and no lie, I had a dream that I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was not joking. This morning, I'm not friggin' making this up. That friggin' Ward, it was in the beginning of his days, and he was just finding out about stuff with the what the hell's the name of that damn organization, Hydra, and he was kind of opposed to it in the beginning, but kind of like went into it because everything that would happen. It was a weird ass dream because it felt like I was watching a TV show. I know that's not going to happen, but I do think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is great. I do have a bone to pick with the people who make Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because, and I don't know if I've stated this, I don't know if you heard it before, we all know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started with the friggin' movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We all know this. You know this. I know this. Phil Coulson started in the movies. Mm-hmm. He was in the Avengers movies. And now it seems like they totally forgot that the TV series and the movies coincide because they don't mention jack shit at all. That's my bone. It's like, get back to doing what you do right. Freaking keep that universe together. Keep it together like grandma's knitted sweater. I want it. This is ridiculous. Okay,
like grandma's knitted sweater, huh?
Still like the show. Just get back into the whole. Come on, seriously.
I'm actually hoping that Phil Coulson shows up in Infinity Wars. To be honest.
And he should.
That would be fantastic, honestly.
Really should.
That would be fantastic.
It should, because if they got to battle this friggin', this huge threat, they're gonna need everybody.
Right.
He was in a lot of them. He was in like pretty much every single one of them. Phil Coulson.
Yeah, he was pretty much like in the entire first phase, with the exception of Captain America. That's the only one he wasn't in.
No,
and Incredible Hulk. He wasn't in that one either.
But I mean, he was like, he kind of like for a while was like the thread that like went through all the movies.
Mm-hmm. And
definitely Mundo.
And definitely, like I've been championing this show since it started. Like it started off rough, like
it did,
you know, whatever it did, but it just progressively got better. And it's like ever since they tied it into Winter Soldier and the events after that, the show just exponentially got better, and it continued to get better from there.
Agreed. So why the separation? That's all I'm saying.
It's like I don't know. Like the infighting that they have between like the TV producers and the movie producers, they need to get that straightened out because look, under the surface, we know it's all connected. We know this, but it's just the simple fact that whatever, I don't know what it is. It's like they just keep getting into a pissing contest about whatever, and it's like, look, you guys know what the fans want. Get it done. Stop bullshitting.
Well, okay, so let's look at it like this, right? Because like right now, when they come back and they're in space, they're probably not even going to know about the stuff that happened with Ragnarok or even what was the Captain America in Civil War. They're not gonna they're not even on. I don't even think they're in the same time space, so they may not even know about that because they're in space. And even last season, like when they were like in the, I'm gonna say on the other side or whatever, like that weird space where they were in, it's like they would not even know the current events because they weren't in like real time on the show. So I don't understand. Like I understand what you're saying, but I'm like right at this point, I don't think that it's gonna weave in until like later.
And I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying in that aspect because like the stories kind of divulge. Yeah, I get that. But it just seems like to me like they totally just forgot all about it. And though that they are in space this season, they could definitely do something with it because the beginning of Infinity Wars is probably going to take place in space because we saw the freaking snippet of trailer where the Guardians of the Galaxy finds Thor's body floating out in space. So maybe they will weave something in because why would they even be in space? I hope they do, but if they don't, I'll be extremely pissed because that makes no sense.
Right. I actually just had a thought. The fact that they are in space. The thing is, what if that might tie into something that might give us clues about Captain Marvel?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Because you got to think about it.
You know what? That's a damn good thought. I hadn't thought about that.
Real quick. But hold on, before you get to your thought, I'm gonna Kanye West you real quick because I was talking with friggin' Hand of Omega, right? And that's one thing that he was talking about, how they should have introduced Carol Danvers in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They could have retconned it because
that's true.
And it could have moved into whatever they're doing, but of course they didn't go that way. But I remember I'm shouting out to you, Hand Omegas. I know you're out there watching. I remember that conversation that you and I had.
That would have been a good idea. That definitely would have been a good idea. So what do we think, guys? Do we think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be done after the end of this season?
No.
Is that a hope, or is that a hope, or is that your absolute rock solid thought?
No, I really don't think that they will be ending. I don't know why they're moving to Friday, but to be honest, I'm usually home on Friday, so I'm gonna be watching it like crazy. So whatever. But I really don't think that this will be the last season. It can't be because it's like we still got like a whole 6 movies, 7 movies, 8 movies, 20 movies. I saw on a report like they can't end Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because like it's too much going on. I just don't think that is gonna do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the show still has legs, regardless of what they were saying. Because after last season, the show started getting some really good traction, especially with Ghost Rider's involvement and whatnot. And I still think the show has legs because we don't know exactly what's going to go on. Like there's been speculation about Agent of S.W.O.R.D. popping up with them being in space and whatnot. Like we don't know what is going to happen, but I can't wait to see what happens. Like I'm all for it.
That's cool. All right, guys. All right, so let's move on to the main topic of what we were coming here to talk about today, and that was the kind of growing loot box controversy that's kind of gained in popularity since the kerfuffle that EA has found themselves in concerning Star Wars Battlefront 2. If you guys haven't been paying attention, for you out there in Culture Junkie Nation, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was getting ready to drop. I think it was like almost 2 weeks ago now. And after the beta, a lot of beta testers were complaining about kind of the very steep cost of unlocking the hero characters, but also they were complaining about the pay to win aspects of the game, where you could actually pay real money and not just in-game currency to get some of the loot boxes and unlock some important star cards that could give you somewhat of a competitive advantage. Now, to be perfectly clear, obviously you guys have seen me streaming Battlefront 2 right here on the page and on our Twitch and YouTube. I played Battlefront 2. I did buy the Elite Trooper Edition, which was the boosted version that gives you some unlockables already out of the box. However, I can say this with 100% certainty that even if you were to buy those loot boxes with money, yeah, you basically would be sidestepping some of the grinding aspect that that EA kind of wanted you to do, but you don't gain a real competitive advantage. Like, it doesn't make you invincible. You're not getting, more powerful weapons. You're getting some enhancements maybe, but you still can be killed. Like, it's not a guarantee that you're going to be at the top of the leaderboard just because you have these things. So I need to open this up to you. That is this kind of much ado about nothing, because now the government's getting involved. And we talked about this on our previous show, but now the governments of not just what was it? I think it was Sweden or Denmark or something like that, were gonna talk about tying it to gambling, but now it looks like the Americas are getting into it too. So is this much ado about nothing? And Sabrina, Kyle, and Dido, you guys, what's your take on it?
Well, let's see. EA, as you know, been around for a million years, literally. They created video games because apparently that's how they think. I don't know. If you look at the mobile gaming, and I think that's where they're trying to make their model from, they figure that they can make more money, because even though mobile gaming, for the most part, you don't really pay for apps too much. They're free, and you put money into them, the pay to win type things, and it works for whatever reason on mobile apps. I won't buy anything because that's bullshit, and I got games that I play that I rather play those than on my mobile phone. But I think 100%, like Candy Crush, from my understanding, people who downloaded Candy Crush could buy past levels or something like that. Makes tons of money. And I think EA was just like, you know what? Well, these people are going to buy the game, and we can try to get them to squeeze more money out of them by using the model they work on mobile gaming. So I think that's what they were doing. Were they right or wrong about it? I don't care, because I was not going to buy Star Wars Battlefront. I didn't buy any other ones. And I think I have a copy of the one for PlayStation 2 sitting over there that I just happened to find somewhere. I don't know. I didn't buy it, never played it. So I think that's what they were trying to do. They knew that it worked on mobile gaming, and they were trying to push it to console gaming. But the console gamers are not having that shit, because, a lot of them been around forever. You buy a game, you're supposed to play that game. And if there's downloadable content, then there's downloadable content, but not downloadable content in order for you to be better. Because if you got some guy out there who's a goddamn neurosurgeon and he makes $500,000 a year, if not more than that, little Jimmy's not going to be able to compete, because this guy wants to buy everything, and he can do it and not break a sweat. Mind you, this neurosurgeon's probably friggin', single and doesn't have too many expenses if he's spending $2,000 plus on a game that costs $60. So, I can see why that would look unfair. But as a corporation, I guarantee you, every single one of you, if you were CEO, that corporation, you say, yeah, let's do it. Let's get more money. I know you would. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I know you would.
Yeah. I think overall, with the model being used, see, here's what I have compared it to. Now, when you look at a game like Overwatch has something similar going on with that. But what gives a game like Overwatch the advantage over Star Wars Battlefront is essentially when you buy the game, that's all you need. Because any characters or whatever, you already have access to the characters, even with after they made more characters after the fact. Those characters are available. The skins, the costumes, any other boosts or whatever, you could just play the game for those. You have the option to buy the loot boxes, to get extra crap or whatever the case may be, but most people just play the game to unlock the stuff. Now with EA, considering that they kind of came out the gate with it, it's like, okay, you have this game, some characters still have to be unlocked. So then you have people who are trying to estimate how long it takes, how much it's going to cost. Now, some people have said the figures were exaggerated, and some people said the time exaggerated. Some people said like it takes 40 hours to unlock Darth Vader or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said that they played the game, they unlocked them in 2. So
that's after they adjusted things, after the outcry. They adjusted the price down.
Right. So apparently, yeah, they came out the gate not doing it like they should with. So there's fault on EA on that front. Like they shouldn't have made it that much harder to where okay, I'm tired of grinding for this. Let me just buy this so I can just have it.
But the reason they did that, though, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but the reason they did that is because what they wanted to do is they wanted to make it so that you actually felt some sense of accomplishment. Like you actually played this game and you worked this hard and you unlocked this character instead of just, you just buying this character. Because I'm the type of guy that I don't need to play hero characters in order to enjoy this game. Other people might want to play a Star Wars game and all they want to do is play as Darth Vader and they want to, keep people with lightsabers or, force choke them to death or play as the Emperor and hit him with force lightning. That's not me.
Right.
So I can't speak for everybody's experience, but all I know is that this, to me, isn't so much of a big deal. And as LGZ just said in the Facebook chat, and Mr. Reese 8732 over on YouTube said, they've been doing this for years. I mean, Gears of War is practically did the same thing. EA has been doing it since Battlefield 3. Nobody said a word then. But now that because Star Wars is involved, now they seemingly have a problem. So that's where I
like not my Star Wars.
Right.
I think it's also because a lot of it is random, right? Like even if you bought I was noticing if you pay for something, you aren't necessarily going to get whatever you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
True. And
it's like a random loot box, whereas it's almost like when you go to the store and you're gonna buy new Pokemon cards, you don't know what you're gonna get in the Pokemon pack.
Great analogy, perfect analogy, actually,
right?
Perfect.
And so kids when they're younger, they'll just spend all their money on the Pokemon cards because they're trying to get whoever they want, right? Whatever monster. And that's essentially what they did, but they did it with their Star Wars characters, which is different from any other purchase in a video game because you know what you're going to buy. You're going to get this skin for Daredevil when you're buying something from Injustice, for example. Right? You're going to get this Batman skin or this Catwoman thing. But with the Battlefront thing, I think that's not what they were doing. Right? It was it's random, and that's why they were saying it's more like gambling because you are gonna spend $5 a pop trying to find one.
Right.
But doesn't that make that less? Doesn't make it better because you can't just buy in whatever you want, and it kind of makes it a little bit more competitive because you actually have to continue to keep buying or whatever. It's I think it makes it better because nobody has a unfair advantage unless they actually, spend the money and then out of a random box they get what they need. I think it's better that way. Because for people to buy stuff in the game, that makes it not fun.
If you talk about cards, for example, you can get 2 packs of cards and have 2 of the same cards in each one. But would it be the same thing for a video game? If you bought a loot box and say you got you know, I don't know what's in the loot box, so I'm gonna say something that may or may not be true. Say you buy the loot box and you get freaking, you know, Darth Vader, and like you buy another loot box, it's not like you're gonna get another Darth Vader. So somebody who, at least as far as I know, so saying that, like, again, if you have the money, you could buy all the available loot boxes, and though it is random what you're gonna get, if it's you're only gonna get that random thing one time, you know, you could spend all of it and get everything. That doesn't, I mean, it seems like it's gambling, but it's only for those who don't have enough money. For those who are rich.
Yeah, and it's I was wondering like how exactly they had loot box like system set up, because like I know there are some games to where, like especially mobile games, where you have like your standard loot boxes that you can just get like just from playing the game, and then you have like what they have like premium loot boxes that you could probably get, and like, you know, from like $5, maybe $6 a pop, and like they are guaranteed to have like high-end items in them or whatever. Now, probably not the case with Star Wars Battlefront, but I know that there are some games to where like essentially when they make the gambling comparison, like there is a racket like somewhere for certain games that do that, which is crazy. So I'm guessing like I somewhat get the comparison with Battlefront, but I just think it's just more so with how they structured the progression to unlock said content. So
and can I also say something else?
Please.
We're all assuming that, you know, saying like what Dadakuti just said, you get Darth Vader, you may not get another Darth Vader. However, we're assuming that only this version of Darth Vader. What if they have like 1985 Darth Vader as an option?
They don't.
Like,
no, they don't. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, like,
right.
We don't know. I guess we don't know what it all is contained in that.
Well, so, I can tell you. I can tell you since I play the game. So what you get in a random loot box, right? You might get you'll never get weapons, right? You have to craft those like with crafting parts. You'll get in-game currency, you'll get some crafting parts, you'll get maybe like a skin or a victory emote for the characters or class that you play, and you may get a star card that basically saves you from having to craft it later anyway. Like you get it now instead of having to play the game, acquire the amount of crafting parts that you need in order to craft it on your own. Like basically, so it's basically just saving you time. Eventually you get it, but you don't have to wait for it. You can get it now, and it's all by random. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily give you a competitive advantage. It just saves you time. Like literally, that's it. Like you could have your star cards all maxed out. You'll never go it doesn't guarantee you being on the top of leaderboard. Like you could have the most maxed out class of character, you'd still get sniped by somebody else. You still get blown up by a thermal detonator. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give you a competitive advantage. So I in this case, I don't understand what they're all upset about. I think they just didn't really, because like I love the way Sabrina brought up the whole buying a pack of cards thing, because it's literally it's the same thing. It's the same principle. You're just buying a pack of cards. You unlock it. You might get, like if you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you might get 4 pieces of Exodia. They're useless on its own unless you don't have that 5th one. You're not gonna find the 5th one unless you buy like 500 different card packs. You might finally stumble upon that one. I mean, literally, that's what it works like.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I just really think that a lot of folks are just really pissed about it. 1, because it's Star Wars. 2, probably because of the backlash from the previous game, where it was basically like tons of content like cut out of the base game. So it could be like more factors than that, but I know that's probably like the main 2 that contributes to it.
Okay.
Again, I just the way you're explaining it, there sounds like for all the different stuff, there's multiple options that can be had, you know, statistically speaking. Like, and I guess if you're mad because you want to buy this one thing and you can't buy it, so you have to keep buying. So I guess, you know, as what Mentor said, yes, poor people can't play Battlefront 2 because I mean they'd spend their money and may not ever get what it is that they need. But that's still not gambling though. That's still not gambling.
Like
right.
Not.
Well, you know, Anthony Mincer is actually chatting and he's saying that it's like playing roulette. So in a way it is gambling, but you don't get a payout. So I mean, really, when you can acquire it through grinding and all you're doing is paying for the chance to save yourself some time, if you really want to do that, then do that. And, you know, you're not getting, there's no way, I don't feel like there's any way you get addicted from doing loot boxes. That's just me.
Nah, I doubt it. Because, I mean, the only way somebody could, quote unquote, get addicted is if like a person just has like no other outlet but video games. At that point, you just need to put the sticks down, you know? So, but it's just like, I'm one of those people that when I play a game, like, look, unless it's structured in a silly way to where like there's no way that you are probably gonna unlock said content like within like a few days up to a week or whatever, I don't mind sitting down and trying to just grind out for the content that I want to get. I mean, I still come from a generation where you play a game, you beat the game to unlock more stuff, and then you play more.
Me too.
I don't mind sitting down and like doing a grind as long as it's not structured stupidly. Like that's one of the reasons why because I gave up on Street Fighter 5 because they structured it that way. So
right. No, I hear you. I do hear you. I hear you. But I guess go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say though, but maybe the thing is that because Battlefront 2 was taking so many hours to unlock to get to those places, maybe that was part of the issue as well. So maybe I mean, if you had to do it like in 10 or 50 hours and then they put it down to 2, like maybe that's an issue. Because I mean, who plays a video game for like, well, y'all do obviously, but I wouldn't play a video game for like 75 hours to unlock something like that. That's weird to me.
Some people think that's just real fun. It's real,
I mean, literally, you spend hours like just doing nothing but multiplayer. Like people don't buy Battlefront. I mean, not Battlefront, Battlefield, which is EA's game that Battlefront 2 is based off of. But they don't buy Battlefield for the single player element. They buy it for multiplayer. Same thing for Call of Duty. Most people buy it for single player because single player obviously is very superior in many ways, but they really buy it for the multiplayer. They buy it to play multiplayer with a bunch of other people. They don't. So you will waste.
News for you guys. This just dropped in culture junkies.
Bring it up later. I know
what we're talking. It has to do with.
Oh, it does. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it says EA's Day of Reckoning is here. The Star Wars game Uproar, $3 billion in stock value wiped out.
Wow.
Ooh.
And this is source from CNBC. It just dropped 5 minutes ago. Somebody put it on our the Culture Junkies fan page.
Ouch.
So,
wow, that's crazy.
It is.
It's Star Wars property, man.
It said that the fans, they spoke with their wallets. And it has to do with the microtransaction controversy. So the fans don't like it, and they're probably never going to do it again because it went down 8.5% their stock Tuesday. And that's freaking crazy. That is nuts.
Wow. That's crazy. And it's like I said, man, part of the reason why is because it's that Star Wars property. Too many people invested into it, and they feel like if they feel like it's being treated unfairly, folks will go to bat for it, even if they are. It's just nuts. I don't know. That's crazy.
It is very much crazy. But these fans have spoken, and maybe they'll do it again. I personally don't think we're going back to the days where you play a game, for example, a fighting game, you beat it, and then a character opens up. I don't think we're going to see that too often. Excuse me. We're not going to see that again. Tekken 7 is already, Geese Howard is coming out soon.
So is Noctis. I can't wait for that. That's going to be sweet.
Exactly. And Noctis. So that's not happening anymore. But in the case of EA, they're probably going to tone down that shit because if what is the CNBC is saying, they lost that much money, Oh yeah, that's not happening.
See, and that makes me makes me a little nervous because like I definitely was looking forward to Anthem when that was coming out. I hope they
now that actually brings up a very good question, and that follows into that's a nice segue. Thank you for that, Dido. How do we think this is going to change the game industry because this thing has gotten so big? I mean, Gears of War, they don't talk about it, talk about loot boxes and stuff with Gears of War, but it's prevalent everywhere. In every MMO that you could look at, Star Trek Online, they have them. In Overwatch, they have them. In Gears of War, they have them. I mean, every shooting game, Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War, they have them too. So I mean, it's everywhere. So how do we think this is going to change? Do you think this is going to change? It's going to be a seismic shift? Do you guys think?
It very well could be, because the thing is
how would that manifest? What do you think they would do?
It really depends. I honestly really feel that with it being Star Wars, it being such a world-renowned property, and it got this kind of heat out of the gate with with EA and whatnot. It could very well just be a situation to where some companies that were going to implement them into their games, they may still do it and probably try to structure to the way to where it'd be more beneficial, or some might just play the safe side and just double down on it. Because the thing is that like if they're making an example out of a Star Wars game, like another title could get swept under, could basically just drown in a sea of outcry at this point. Like especially if Star Wars got it. So I can't really say for certain how it would or how it wouldn't, but it's just the fact that because the Star Wars got flooded with it, like any other company, gaming company or franchise or whatever, they could easily, suffer the same fate. That's the only thing I can say about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, is it actually working now?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
I think that with Shadow of War, like the Lord of the Rings one, Shadow of Mordor, is it Shadow of Mordor? With that
Shadow
one,
of Mordor and Shadow of War, yeah.
Yeah, Shadow of War. That's the second one, right? With that one, people didn't really say it as much because people didn't like it, but there wasn't as much of an outcry, and I think it was because it was like made to be that way, like an RPG. Whereas like the other with like this new Battlefront game, people when they picked it up, they probably weren't thinking that it was gonna be loot crates and all those things. So when they were like, "Oh, I need to buy this," or "I have to get," like, they didn't want to spend like 200 hours playing the game just to get whatever they wanted. But I don't think that really changes how. That will probably just change the way people who don't normally pick up games would play it. Like Star Wars is like a kind of game where people who don't play video games all the time, they'll pick up Star Wars. Whereas like I don't know, maybe other games, more gamer people are playing it. So like with Overwatch and those other things, it's because they wanted to play the video game itself.
Right.
That
right. Sense. So it doesn't really change. Like it won't change. It maybe changes like how popular something is, but it wouldn't change how like regular gamers would play. I think. I don't know.
So do you think like it's like more of like a backlash from like the casual gamer or the hardcore gamer?
I think
the casual ones.
I think it's the casual ones, because a hardcore gamer would have spent 200, would have probably just spent the hours, or if they wanted to play that game, they would have just spent time playing it and playing through it. As like I play this game that I casually play on my phone. It's like a Walking Dead game, and I'm in a faction. But everyone who's in my little group, we decided collectively that we weren't going to pay for anything. So we were just going to try to be good without like buying extra stuff or like getting any loot crates or paying for anything in the game. And we do okay. We're survivable. We're one of the top 10 or 15 in our little area or whatever that you play like in the world. And So we didn't necessarily have to do any of that to like further ourselves in the game, like to be in the top.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
now,
that's what I like to hear. You just play the game.
Yeah. Well, see, and I think it's a little bit different because with mobile games, they really incentivize you buying. Like they make it so hard for you to get anywhere in any kind of progression without dropping that money, because it's like they slowly choke you out in the very beginning. Like you can obtain all the really cool stuff like in the beginning, really good. It's like it's like having a drug dealer say, "Hey, the first hit's free," and then now you gotta pay for the second hit if you really want it. If you really like it, you gotta pay for that. So that's where the philosophy and that's where I think their strategy is going. But you know, with that the announcement that the stock of EA dropped like that, they're going to really have to reevaluate this whole thing. And I'm very interested to see where it's going to shake out because, you know, to me, Battlefront 2 is a really fun game. And because they don't drop weapons in their loot boxes and you still have to unlock the weapons and the characters yourself basically by playing, it really doesn't shift any competitive balance either way. You still have to rely on your own skills in order to compete and be good. But I don't know how it's going to affect the rest of the industry, but I would much rather it go back to being you just play and unlock everything on your own. Make people earn it. Stop making them stop with this easy gratification stuff. I guess that's maybe that's the best way to put it. You guys think? Agree?
Definitely agree with that.
Agree, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, cool. So we've almost hit the end of the show, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up some hot news of the nation. And it's something very juicy, very juicy. So Disney actually, the Russo brothers have been alluding to some kind of tease in the next couple of days. Well, we already know that the Avengers Infinity War trailer is getting ready to drop tomorrow, and that's going to be a whole nother bag. So that obviously can't be what they're teasing. But according to Deadline Hollywood, which is the Hollywood Reporter's breaking Deadline news paper, the Disney Fox deal has been progressing rapidly, led by Disney. The deal that LGZ said was probably never going to happen looks like it's on the fast track to actually being. What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Let me just hold on.
Disney.
Hold on. So let me just say this, because from what I'm to understand, after they started talking about the deal cooling, both of the stocks went up. So of course they were like, "Oh, wrap it," and then they said, "Oh no, maybe not," because they're gonna get another bump in stock. This is tactics. Like, this is strategy right
This
here.
is
like,
tactics. What's the oh, so they playing for the stock prices, huh? Is that what they doing?
I'm just telling you. But I'm saying, how much money have they gained? I'm saying, if they're gaining money, like, what do they even?
How much money would they gain if they actually do this deal?
Oh my God! I'm telling you, bro, I'm telling you, like, y'all are tripping. Y'all keep watching. Just keep watching on this. I don't know. I don't care what those people are alluding to. Trust me when I tell you.
I'm keeping my eyes
hard pressed.
Were you one of them people that said that Sony wasn't going to give Spider-Man to Marvel? Were you one of them?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Spider-Man was in the toilet. That was easy to give over.
What?
Andrew, whatever, like, that shit was trash. They should have gave it anyway. That was a good move. That was actually, I mean, I'm just saying, it was a good move, because the ratings for Spider-Man after Tobey Maguire and Andrew, I forgot his last name.
Andrew Garfield, that shit went down. They were good to sell out. She said it was trash. She said it was trash, man. She said it was trash. That's hilarious.
That was great. That was great, LGZ. You got my MVP for that one.
That's fantastic.
I'm just saying.
You know what? Honestly, don't listen to her. I'm telling you, this thing is going to end up happening. I'm telling you.
No,
if Disney's involved and they can get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, this thing's going to go down.
Wait. Let me just say this, though. I would be more. So Kevin Feige is saying that he wants X-Men, and one of the producers from X-Men wants to be in Marvel. and Kevin Feige says he wants X-Men. I would rely better on that information as to making the deal happen than just, because we want to take out the stuff from 21st Century Fox or whatever. That's bullshit.
I'm just expecting the X-Mansion and the Baxter Building to pop up in the MCU in the next couple of years. That's all.
Yo, man, that's gonna be dope. Like, can you imagine? Like, they getting ready to
Shield.
Oh, that would be so dope.
Hey.
Oh, that would be so dope. So anyway, guys, you know, we've had a fantastic show talking about loot boxes and stuff like that. If this is your first time watching the show, we want to thank you for watching, but do make sure you actually follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube and find out some of our past shows and watch some of the hype and the hilarity that we've had putting on this show for you. We're rapidly approaching our 100th show in about 4 weeks. And the show is kind of gonna go through like an evolution or a metamorphosis or something like that. I'll let you guys know in the coming weeks how that's going to look. But in any case, for Sabrina Perry and Fallen Marvel, LGZ, and the Great Adakuji, I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next Tuesday here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central.
All right, Kenan, one more thing, just real quick before we go. Gotta finish my Black Friday stuff. I didn't get a chance to name all my stuff off. Real quick.
Quick.
Real quick. Yakuza Dead Souls, Rise of Tomb Raider, Overwatch,
Okay. Oh man.
Shadow War, Wolfenstein 2, and
man.
Art of Marvel Phase 1.
Oh man, that's a nice get.
Noise.
Peace out, everybody.
Yes. Now it concludes.